AP News in brief at 11:04 p.m. EDT Venezuelan government, drone strikes targeted Maduro. Caracas, Venezuela, AP, drones armed with explosives detonated near Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro Saturday in an apparent assassination attempt that took place while he was delivering a speech to hundreds of soldiers being broadcast live on television, officials said. Caught by surprise mid-speech, Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores, looked up at the sky and winced after hearing the sound of an explosion pierce the air. "This was an attempt to kill me," he said later in an impassioned retelling of the events. "Today they attempted to assassinate me," Information Minister Jorge Rodriguez said. The incident took place shortly after 5:30 p.m. as Maduro was celebrating the National Guard's 81st anniversary. The visibly shaken head of state said he saw a flying device that exploded before his eyes. He thought it might be a pyrotechnics display in honor of the event. Within seconds, Maduro said he heard a second explosion and pandemonium ensued. Bodyguards escorted Maduro out of the event and television footage showed uniformed soldiers standing in formation, quickly scattering from the scene. Trump casts midterm elections as a personal referendum. Lewis Center, Ohio, AP, embracing his breakneck return to campaign politics. President Donald Trump on Saturday argued that Republicans needed to control Congress by casting the midterms as a referendum on himself. In a raucous rally in a sweltering gymnasium north of Columbus, Ohio, Trump pitched for the GOP candidate up in a special election next week and defiantly questioned the idea that, historically, the party that controls the White House suffers in the midterms, declaring, "But I say why would there be a blue wave? I think it could be a red wave," Trump said of his party's prospects in November. "They want to take away what we've given. And we're doing a lot of things people don't even know about." Though boisterous and bellicose, Trump steered clear of the trouble he stirred up the night before when he blasted one of Ohio's favorite sons, LeBron James. In a late-night tweet, Trump derided the intelligence of one of the nation's most prominent African-American men. The attack on James, who has been critical of Trump, came just as the NBA superstar opened up a school for underprivileged children. First Lady Melania Trump, in a statement, distanced herself from the broadside, which resembled a racial dog whistle, and praised James's efforts. Fights break out between groups of demonstrators at Rally Portland, or AP. Small scuffles broke out Saturday as police in Portland, Oregon, deployed flashbang devices and other means to disperse hundreds of right-wing and self-described anti-fascist protesters. The number of arrests and injuries wasn't immediately clear. A reporter for the Oregonian, Oregon Live, was bloodied when he was struck by a projectile. Aider Campuzano said later on Twitter he was okay. Demonstrators aligned with Patriot Prayer and an affiliated group, the Proud Boys, gathered around midday in a riverfront park. Hundreds of demonstrators faced them from across the street, holding banners and signs with opposition messages such as, "Alt-right scum not welcome in Portland." Some chanted, "Nazis go home." Officers stood in the middle of the four-lane boulevard, essentially forming a wall to keep the two sides separated. Trump rips LeBron James's smarts hours before rally in Ohio. Bridgewater, NJ. AP. Ahead of campaigning in Ohio on Saturday, President Donald Trump unleashed a withering attack on the state's favorite son, savaging NBA star LeBron James in a late-night tweet that derided the intelligence of one of the nation's most prominent African-American men. Melania Trump's spokeswoman quickly distanced the First Lady from the criticism of James, saying in a statement Saturday afternoon that it appeared James was working to do good things on behalf of our next generation, and that the First Lady would be open to visiting his new school for at-risk children. The statement didn't criticize the president. Trump blasted James late Friday after an interview aired with CNN anchor Don Lemon in which he deemed Trump divisive. Although James has long been a Trump critic, calling the president "you bum" in a 2017 tweet, the tweet was Trump's first attack on the player, who just opened up a school for underprivileged children in his hometown of Akron. The tweet came hours before Trump traveled to Columbus, Ohio, for a rally north of town in support of the Republican in a special U.S. House election on Tuesday. Once in Ohio, however, Trump stayed away from the controversy and never mentioned James as he hammered away at Democrats and other favorite targets. LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, Don Lemon, Trump posted. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do, ____. Brown asks Trump for wildfire aid as state battles 17 blazes San Francisco, AP, Gov. Jerry Brown on Saturday called on President Donald Trump to help California fight and recover from another devastating wildfire season. Brown, who inspected neighborhoods wiped out by a wildfire in the Northern California city of Redding, said he was confident the president he has clashed with over immigration and pollution policies would send aid, which Trump did last year when California's wine country was hit hard. The president has been pretty good on helping us in disasters, so I'm hopeful, said Brown, a Democrat. Tragedies bring people together. The National Weather Service forecasts hot and windy conditions to persist in Northern California. There are 17 major fires burning throughout California, authorities said. In all, they have destroyed hundreds of homes, killed 8 people, including 4 firefighters, and shut down Yosemite National Park. Facebook opens up on boat meddling, but is the shift real? New York, AP. For a company bent on making the world more open, Facebook has long been secretive about the details of how it runs its social network, particularly how things go wrong and what it does about them. Yet on Tuesday, Facebook rushed forward to alert Congress and the public that it had recently detected a small but sophisticated case of possible Russian election manipulation. Has the social network finally acknowledged the need to keep the world informed about the big problems it's grappling with, rather than doing so only when dragged kicking and screaming to the podium? While the unprompted revelation does signal a new, albeit tightly controlled openness for the company, there is still plenty that Facebook isn't saying. Many experts remain unconvinced that this is a true culture change and not mere window dressing. This is all calculated very carefully, said Timothy Carone, a business professor at the University of Notre Dame. He and other analysts noted that Facebook announced its discovery of 32 accounts and pages intended to stir up U.S. political discord just a week after the company's stock dropped almost 20%, its worst plunge since going public. But Facebook's proactive disclosure, including a conference call for reporters with Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg, struck a markedly different tone from the company's ham-handed approach to a string of scandals and setbacks over the past 2 years. That has included, Brazil party names jailed leader as presidential nominee. São Paulo, AP. The Workers' Party in Brazil named jailed former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on Saturday as its nominee for the country's top job in October's election. Delegates of the left-leaning party confirmed da Silva, who served 2 terms as Brazil's president between 2003 and 2010, with enthusiastic approval at a convention in São Paulo. The former president is likely to be barred by Brazil's electoral court, though. Since April, the former president has been jailed on a corruption conviction, but he denies any wrongdoing and claims he is being politically persecuted. Da Silva leads polls for the office by a large margin, and surveys show voters would lend their support to another Workers' Party candidate if he cannot participate. Crackdown on bots sweeps up people who tweet off in Chicago, AP. Nina Tomaszewski logs onto Twitter before the sun rises. Seated at her dining room table with a nearby TV constantly tuned to Fox News, the 70-year-old grandmother spends up to 14 hours a day tweeting the praises of President Trump and his political allies, particularly those on the ballot this fall, and deriding their opponents. She's part of a dedicated band of Trump supporters who tweet and retweet "Keep America Great" messages thousands of times a day. Time to walk away, Dems, and vote red in the primaries, she declared in one of her voluminous tweets, adding, "Say no to socialism." And without meaning to, the tweeters have demonstrated the difficulty such crackdowns face, particularly when it comes to telling a political diehard from a surreptitious computer robot. _____ Lewis urges togetherness and love in Hall of Fame speech. Canton, Ohio, AP. One of the great leaders football has seen, Ray Lewis used his Pro Football Hall of Fame induction speech to call for more enlightened leadership in our country. The last of the 7 members of the class of 2018 on hand to be enshrined, Lewis issued notes and the lectern, instead strolling along the stage and passionately urging his listeners to come together. Are you living every day to make this world better? Lewis asked Saturday night at the end of his 33-minute oratory, often invoking the teachings of Martin Luther King. Think what we can do if we work together as a country, teaching our nation to love each other again. It's how we react to the challenges in our life that shows our greatness. How do we execute that dream? Who will answer that knock on the door in the middle of the night? And it has to start right now. We need people willing to fight for what is good and what is right. Turning to the 140 Hall of Famers on the stage, he told them, we can go from being legends to building a legacy bigger than football, bigger than sports. Look at what unites us. The answer is simple: love. Hope, faith and love, and the greatest is love, ____. Patrick Stewart to reprise Star Trek role in new series. New York, AP. Patrick Stewart is boldly going where he's been before. Star Trek, CBS All Access said Saturday Stewart has been tapped to headline a new Star Trek series, reprising his Star Trek New Generation character, Captain Jean-Luc Picard. The new series is not a New Generation reboot but will tell the story of the next chapter of Picard's life. No title or air date was revealed. Stewart headlined his Star Trek series for 7 seasons and portrayed Picard in the movies Star Trek Generations 1994, Star Trek First Contact 1996, Star Trek Insurrection 1998, and Star Trek Nemesis 2002. In a statement, Stewart says he thought his Star Trek days had run its natural course, so he considers it a delightful surprise to be playing Picard again. Copyright 2018 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, written or redistributed.